Welcome back and thank you for joining us. And now we move straight ahead to reviewing the front pages of our national dailies. Let's get to see what made it there. And we'll start off with Daily Trust on the headline. Bandits attack 5 vehicles, abduct passengers in Kogi. And that's on page 3 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And then also we have Obasanjo. Under my watch, US would not do anything in Africa without our knowledge. And that's on page 6 of the Daily Trust. Abuja Hospital mortuary drowns in stench decay, and that's on page 14 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And then also we have a silver EFCC puts FBI, NCA, Interpol on alert. And that's on pages 4 and 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper if you want more on that story. And then also we have federal government pushes for Ikwerimadu's transfer to Nigeria. And that's on page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. PDP convention, Damagum led NWC moles weekest explosion. And that's on page 10 of the Daily Trust newspaper if you want more on that story. And also we have NACON reduces Hajj fare to 7.6 million naira, and that's on page 7 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Many killed as Boko Haram ISWAP clash in Lake Chad region, and that's on page 7 of the Daily Trust newspaper. If you want more on these headlines, do well to grab yourself a copy to stay informed.
All right, next up, we have the Guardian newspaper right in front. Student loan nil fund kicks. All right, we have nil fund.
Okay. All right, let's move to
our reviewer at this point. Right.
All right, joining us to review the front pages of today's newspaper is Programs Director, Daily Trust Foundation, Dr. Theophilus Abba. Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. All right, let's look at the headlines on Daily Trust. Bandits attack 5 vehicles, abduct passengers in Kogi. Every day we wake up, we get to hear, different news when it comes to the insurgency that we're facing in Nigeria currently. What do you make of all of this?
Well, I think it's quite unfortunate that, our headlines are about banditry, and the activities of terrorists. If it's not about ISWAP, not about Boko Haram, about bandits and all this, and it's very difficult. Psychologically, it can affect us, because if your mind is that, you step out, everything you are hearing is about banditry, about killings, about genocide, psychologically it will definitely affect you. But what has happened in Kogi especially, because I know a little bit about the situation in Kogi State. Both Kogi West, this part is what we call Kogi West, then we have the Kogi East and we have the Kogi Central. And Kogi is surrounded by states that are plagued, by bandits. The bandits that came through northwest, the Lakurawa that you find in Niger State, and the ones that came through northwest from Niger to Kwara, they are now entering Kogi State. And if you go to to Kogi East, you have the ones that are operating from Nasarawa, entering into Kogi East, and every other day you hear so much about killings, about kidnapping. In fact, when I read this story, I was even shocked that there's a whole lot of kidnapping that's taking place in Kogi State now, which is not even being reported. So I am thinking that the government is doing a whole lot in the northwest. They have to pay attention to the north central this time around. I think it was last week that there was a protest in Nasarawa State, over kidnapping, and the people were saying they were tired of the activities of kidnappers, and they needed help. So I think there has to be another approach. I don't know whether I can call it another approach to what is happening in the north central. Because if they have moved, let's assume they signed the agreement with Katsina, and they could no longer operate in some localities in Katsina. You see them, they moved to Kebbi. From Kebbi, they moved to Niger. Niger, they moved to Kwara. In fact, Kwara was even unheard of because we never even imagined banditry in Kwara State. Then from Kwara, you know, Kwara shares border with North Kogi West. That's the Yoruba part of Kogi State. Now they've entered the Kogi State. So there has to be, I mean, an effort to look at what exactly is happening in Kogi and help. You know, recently I got a report that there's a part of Kogi, I think they are to part of Kogi West, where Chinese are mining some natural resources. And then I think what they are doing there looks illegal because it is that area that you find activities of bandits, you know, attacking people, sacking communities, and all this and all that. So we shouldn't ignore, what's happening. And it's very clear that most of the activities of most of the areas that bandits operate are areas where there are natural resources. Talk of Zamfara, talk of so many other parts of Nigeria where you find them operating. There are natural resources there. There are illegal mining activities taking place there. And so I'm thinking that the government must be very sincere. You know, if anybody wants to mine natural resources, let the person do it the way it ought to be done. You know, not to hide behind bandits, you know, kill people and steal our natural resources. You know, there has to be a standard way of mining natural resources, and we know how it is done. If you go to many other parts of the world, if you are mining lithium, for instance, you know, you have to set up the factory. You have to set up an industry. You have to, have a huge business complex where you process. You don't just organize the killing of the people who live in that area, sack them, and make that place a no-go area, then you now secretly mine and fritter them away. It doesn't happen. In other parts of the world, you are doing mining is big business. You must invest. But in this case, we have guys who are doing illegal mining, stealing our resources, and then organizing bandits to kill us. You know, that is unacceptable. And I think government must face this reality to say, look, we have to ensure that Nigerians are not killed by those who steal our natural resources.
All right, let's look at this conversation that was had with former President Obasanjo, and he said under his watch, America wouldn't do anything in Africa without their knowledge, as well as stating that since this time, no United States president has visited Nigeria as well. So what is your take on this?
Well, I think, like we have said, I think it's in reference to the CPC in this country of particular concern that we've been designated. No, you see, like I have mentioned here before, that there's no way Trump can invade Nigeria. There's no way Trump can attack Nigeria without informing. He cannot do it without informing the Nigerian security operatives. And I've said it before, that even in 2020, when Nigeria was designated, you know, they didn't come to attack. And maybe many of us don't even know that it's not only Nigeria that is designated as a country of particular concern. There are 17 countries. Nigeria is not even number 1 on the list. Nigeria is either number 11 on the list. You know, you have a country like China, you have a country like Saudi Arabia, you have a country like Afghanistan, you have even countries in Asia, you know. And so the tension about this in Nigeria is disturbing. There's no way Trump will send his military to attack Nigeria, any part of Nigeria, without telling the Nigerian government. They have to. So that was what Obasanjo is saying, that look, why are people afraid? There's no way, even in Africa, if they are going to attack anywhere in Africa, they will tell us that look, this is what we want to do in Africa. Even look at when Israel and Iran were at war. You know, there was nothing that Israel would do without telling other Middle East countries, look, this is what we are going to do. We are going to do an attack. They may not tell you that this is what we are going to attack, but they will tell them, they will be aware. Some of the attack, they will say, we don't want you to do it, you know. And they will give conditions. Even before America attacked Iran, told them, look, we are going to do something. And so America cannot just fly its planes and begin to bombard Nigeria. That's what Obasanjo is saying. And I'm thinking that instead of us, and I've said this again and again, instead of us to concentrate on this genocide issue and thinking that America is coming to, America will not come to attack. You say, if this thing does not stop. We want to see the end to bandits. We want to see the end to killing. Every day you wake up, the headline is this person have been killed. We don't want to see, we don't want it to continue. And Trump said that if it doesn't continue, he will not do anything. And even if he's going to do anything, he's not going to come from America to do anything without telling the Nigerian government. If These things have to be argued. These things have to be negotiated. You need to say, okay, you are justifications. We say no to it. We say yes to it. And not those before it happens. And we don't expect it to happen. We don't expect it. We want an end to these killings. You know, this insecurity, we want an end to it. We are not looking for, nobody wants America to come and bomb us. Nobody wants that. So that's what he's saying. That, you know, that when I was president, there was no time the US to do anything in Africa without informing us. You may not agree with you. You may say no, but they say our own interest, in our own interest, we are going to do it. And then how many times did the US intervene in African affairs? How many times? You know, if you look at the global crisis, the crisis in Africa, I mean, apart, the last one was in Rwanda. It didn't go down well with them. So Americans are actually very, very careful about intervening in other countries.
All right, then. Quickly, let's look at this headline: Abuja Hospital mortuary drowns in stench decay. And now this report is showing how, you know, the infrastructure in hospitals in Nigeria is really, you know, deteriorating. According to the report, they said that most of the cooling systems, the refrigerators in the hospitals are not working, a lack of electricity, no ventilation, and this keeps, you know, going on in our hospitals. And we are asking, at what point are we going to get it right when it comes to our health sector? We'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I know there is a series of stories that have been done, I think, by the Daily Trust on the non-release of funds to many agencies of government. And I think that's why this may be happening in Abuja, in the hospitals. Because if the funds to maintain the hospital, and if the funds are not being released, you have this problem. You know, this is very embarrassing. Sincerely, it's very, very embarrassing. Because there should be sectors that should be prioritized. The health sector is number one. Because if you are not alive, you cannot really aspire to become anything. So, and I mean, the human life is so sacred that it needs to be protected, it needs to be preserved. And the only way you can do is through medical care. So it's very unfortunate that we have this situation in our hospitals. And I was thinking that I think the president had made a commitment previously that for hospitals, they will ensure that there's electricity. You know, I think it was in Kano that, I mean, they had issues with the payment of hospital bills. And the president said, look, we are going to ensure that hospitals have access to power. Right. And I think that has to be followed up. You know, you can't have hospitals with that kind of image that we are seeing in the papers.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Theophilus Abba, for always reviewing the front pages of our national dailies so intricately.
Thank you, thank you.
Absolutely. All right, with that, we've come to the end of Daybreak on Trust TV. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. so you don't miss out on engaging and interesting conversations, as always. I'm Hawa Ademikiawa. Thank you for watching.
And I am Mimuna Bagudu. Do what follows on all of our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more news. Have a great day. Bye-bye.